Carl Gustav Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, known for his radical contributions to psychology, had an incredible impact on this field. His work surpassed the confines of psychology and permeated into various other disciplines, such as anthropology, astrology, literature, philosophy, and other religious studies. Apart from founding analytical psychology and developing the concepts such as the collective unconscious, archetypes, and individuation, Jung also introduced the fascinating concept of synchronicity. So in this video, I'm going to touch on the concept of synchronicity, as well as a little bit about Carl Jung's life. Jung was born in Switzerland in 1875 to a family where religion was deeply rooted. His father was a pastor, and his mother came from a family with a passion for spiritual mysticism. The influence of his background was evident in several of his theories, which often dealt with elements of spirituality, symbolism, and the occult. After studying medicine, he decided to focus on psychiatry, leading him to collaborate with Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis.
I finished my studies in 1900, and I met Freud only very much later. I read, in 1900 I already read his dream interpretation and the Freud studies about hysteria, but that was merely literary, you know. And then in 1907 I became acquainted with him personally.
Will you tell me how that happened? Did you go to Vienna?
Oh, well, I'd written a book about the psychology of dementia precox, as one called schizophrenia then. And I sent him that book, and thus became acquainted. I went to Vienna for a fortnight then, and then we had very long and penetrating conversations, and that settled it.
And this long and penetrating conversation was followed by personal friendship?
Oh yes, it soon developed into a personal friendship.
And what sort of man was Freud?
Well, he was a complicated nature, you know. I liked him very much, but I soon discovered that when he had thought something, then it was settled, while I was doubting all along the line. And it was impossible to discuss something really a fond. You know, he had no philosophical education, particularly, I was studying Kant, and I was steeped in it, and that was far from Freud. So from the very beginning, there was a discrepancy.
However, their disagreements over Freud's emphasis on sexual motivations of human behavior soon led to their split. Then soon after the separation from Freud, Jung embarked on a journey deeper into psychology, discovering concepts such as the collective unconscious and archetypal symbols. Amid these developments, Jung introduced the groundbreaking concept of synchronicity. The term coined by Jung refers to the occurrence of two or more events in a casually unrelated way that appears meaningfully related. Now, in Jung's exact words, synchronicity means the simultaneous occurrence of a psychic state with one or more external events, which appear as meaningful parallels to the momentary subjective state. Synchronicity looks beyond the conventional idea of cause and effect, focusing more on occurrences linked by their symbolic meaning rather than empirical explanation. Jung's idea of synchronicity was profoundly influenced by his interest in Eastern philosophy and the ancient Chinese divination method, the I Ching, also known as the Book of Changes. He was deeply intrigued by the cosmic ordering principle called Tao, and he developed synchronicity as a concept that intercepts the Western approach to causality and the Eastern understanding of interconnectedness. Synchronicity for Jung meant an acasual connecting principle, where the inner mental state and outer physical events, such as realities, align in a meaningful way without a casual relationship. While the scientific community met Jung's concept of synchronicity with skepticism due to its mysterious and unprovable nature, it offered a fresh perspective to look at the occurrences in the world. This concept seemed to bridge the gap between the mystical and the rational, deeply resonating with people's lived experiences. Jung then used synchronicity to explain incidents such as coincidences, miracles, and even premonitions. Now, to give a little better context, I'm going to give a quick example from Carl Jung's life on synchronicity. On April 1st, 1949, I made a note in the morning of an inscription containing a figure that was half man and half fish. There was a fish for lunch. Somebody mentioned the custom of making an April fish for someone. In the afternoon, a former patient of mine, whom I had not seen for months, showed me some impressive pictures of fish. In the evening, I was shown a piece of embroidery with sea monsters and fishes in it. The next morning, I saw a former patient who was visiting me for the first time in 10 years. She had dreamed of a large fish the night before. A few months later, when I was using this series for a larger work and had just finished writing it down, I walked over to a spot by the lake in front of the house where I had already been several times that morning. This time, a fish, a foot long, lay on the seawall. Since no one else was present, I have no idea how the fish could have gotten there. Synchronicity, as Jung conceptualized it, places significant emphasis on the subjective experience of these apparent connections, requiring an active engagement of the persons perceiving the event. Therefore, one could argue that it points towards the personalized meaning-making of experiences that occur in our world. So in conclusion, Jung was not just a psychologist who developed theories, he was also a visionary who sought to comprehend the human experience beyond the tangible. The concept of synchronicity that he introduced can be seen as a reflection of his blooming curiosity and explores the mindset into the vast realm of human consciousness. Although regarded as controversial and at times baffling by some, Jung's theoretical contributions continue to stimulate debates and pique the interest of researchers, paving the way for new understandings about human behavior and other experiences in life.